The human, Kale, stepped cautiously across the rocky plateau, his boots crunching against the alien stone. The wind howled through the canyon, carrying scents of sulfur and strange flowers. Kale had traveled across galaxies to study alien life, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. Before him, perched atop the cliff, was a creature of unimaginable size and majesty, the queen of giant dragons. Her scales glimmered in shades of violet and gold, her wings stretched wider than the largest starship, and her eyes, sharp and intelligent, fixed on him like twin suns. Kale froze, feeling the weight of her gaze. He had expected danger, perhaps even hostility, but nothing could have prepared him for the sheer presence of a being that seemed to embody the power of an entire planet. He tried to speak, but words failed him. Instead, he bowed slightly, hoping to show respect rather than fear. The queen let out a low, rumbling laugh that echoed across the canyon. "A human," she said, her voice like rolling thunder, "daring to walk into my domain. Do you know what you are, little one?" Kale swallowed and nodded. "I study life," he said carefully. "I mean no harm. I only wish to observe and learn." The queen's laugh deepened. "Observe and learn? Foolish, tiny creature. Do you think your presence here is anything more than amusing? Do you understand dragons at all?" Kale shook his head. "No, not fully. That's why I came here. I want to understand you." The queen's eyes narrowed, and she tilted her massive head, studying him. For a long moment, the wind and silence held their court. Then, with a flick of her wings, she descended, her massive form casting a shadow over Kale. The ground trembled under her weight, but Kale did not move. He felt awe, fear, and a strange excitement all at once. "You are bold," she said. "Bold, tiny human. I should crush you for your insolence." Her claws flexed, sharp and glittering in the sun. "And yet, there is something unusual about you. Most humans cower or flee. You do not. Why?" Kale straightened. "Because I have nothing to hide. I respect life, all life, and I do not fear knowledge." The queen tilted her head again, considering his words. "Respect, fearlessness, traits I have rarely seen in humans. Perhaps you are worthy of something extraordinary." She paused, and then her laughter returned, bright and wild. "Worthy of nothing, you say? Perhaps. Yet fate has a way of surprising even me." Before Kale could respond, a strange golden light erupted around the queen. It pulsed and shimmered like liquid fire, encasing her body and then extending toward him. He tried to step back, but the light did not harm him. Instead, it wrapped around him gently, as if testing, probing, understanding. "What is this?" Kale whispered, awestruck. "It is a ceremony of union," the queen said, her voice calm now, almost gentle. "Long ago, dragons created rituals to bond with other species. Few have survived it, and fewer still have been chosen. Today, little human, you are chosen." Kale's heart raced. "Chosen? For what?" The queen's wings flexed, and the light around them flared again. "To prove that strength is not only in size, but in courage and spirit. To test the limits of possibility, even for dragons." Kale felt a surge of warmth as the golden light wrapped him fully. The queen's gaze softened. "Do not misunderstand me. I laugh at the idea of a human mating with a dragon. It is absurd. Yet, the ceremony requires our cooperation. Refusal is not an option." Kale swallowed, understanding the weight of her words. He was about to participate in something no human had ever attempted, a union between species that defied imagination. And yet, he felt no fear. His curiosity, respect, and courage steadied him. The light pulsed once more, then dissipated, leaving them standing together, closer than ever before. Kale felt a connection, subtle but undeniable, as if the queen's mind had brushed against his own. Thoughts, emotions, and memories seemed to mingle faintly, giving him insight into her power and intelligence. The queen studied him, her eyes gleaming with amusement and curiosity. "Do not think this makes you equal to me, human. I am the queen of dragons. You are small, fragile, and fleeting, but perhaps there is potential in you. Perhaps you can survive what is to come." Kale nodded. "I will try. I promise to honor whatever comes of this." A low rumble escaped the queen's throat, a sound that could have been laughter or a warning. "Very well," she said. "The ceremony has begun. You will walk beside me, share in this experience, and perhaps you will change the way dragons view humans forever." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the plateau, Kale realized that he was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something extraordinary, something that defied reason and expectation. The Queen of Giant Dragons had chosen him for a union that seemed impossible, and yet here he was, standing tall, ready to face whatever the ceremony demanded. The wind carried the Queen's laughter across the canyon again, lighter now, almost musical. "Do not worry, little human. You may be small, but your courage shines brightly. Let's see what fate brings." Kale felt a mixture of fear, excitement, and wonder. He was about to step into a world no human had ever seen, bound to a creature of immense power, intellect, and pride. And though the idea had once seemed laughable even to the Queen, he could sense that this encounter would change everything, for Dragon, for humans, and for the galaxy itself. For the first time, Kale understood that courage, respect, and curiosity were not measured in size or strength. They were measured in the heart. And tonight, on the alien plateau with the Queen of Giant Dragons, his heart was ready. Kale awoke to the soft glow of dawn spilling across the plateau. The Queen of Giant Dragons lay nearby, her massive body coiled gracefully, her eyes half closed but still alert. The night had been strange, filled with warmth and an unspoken connection that Kale could hardly explain. He moved quietly, careful not to startle her. The Queen opened one eye and regarded him. "You move like a careful creature," she said, her voice low and melodic. "Perhaps you are learning." Kale smiled faintly. "I am trying. There is so much I do not understand." The Queen flexed her wings, and with a grace that belied her enormous size, she lifted into the morning sky. "Then watch carefully, little human. Observe the world as I do." Kale followed, scrambling along the rocky cliffs. As she soared, he saw the landscape from her perspective. Vast canyons stretching endlessly, rivers of molten rock, forests glowing with alien light. He realized how much his senses limited him, how small his human body made him feel. Yet, he also noticed patterns, connections, and rhythms in the world that only his careful observation could reveal. Landing gracefully, the Queen lowered her head toward him. "You see, human, every creature has its place. Even you." Kale bowed. "I never thought I could see the world like this." Over the following days, their unusual bond grew. Kale learned to communicate with the Queen in ways beyond words. He studied her body language, the subtle flick of her tail, the changes in the color of her scales, and began to understand her moods and intentions. In return, he shared knowledge of human ingenuity, simple tools, methods of observation, and even stories of human resilience. The Queen watched him, fascinated. "You are clever, small human. You think differently from dragons, yet your mind is sharp. I begin to understand why you survived the ceremony." Kale chuckled. "I think we can learn from each other, even if we are very different." One afternoon, while Kale carefully examined a patch of glowing moss, the Queen approached him slowly, her massive claws barely making a sound on the stone. "You touch everything gently, as if it could break," she observed. "Humans are fragile, yet you act with confidence. That is curious." Kale looked up. "I have to be careful. Strength is not just about size or power. It is about understanding limits." The Queen rumbled softly. "Limits? Yes. You speak of things dragons sometimes forget. We are strong, fast, immortal in many ways. But you, human, have patience, creativity, and compassion. Perhaps that is why the ceremony chose you." They spent hours together, exploring caves, observing alien wildlife, and discussing everything from the stars to the winds that shaped the mountains. Kale taught her about human inventions and strategy for survival, while she demonstrated the elegance of flight, the intricacies of dragon social structures, and the subtle ways dragons communicated over vast distances. During a moment of quiet, Kale asked, "Do you ever feel lonely despite your power?" The Queen tilted her head, thoughtful. "Lonely, perhaps. Few dare approach a queen. Many fear me, and some respect me only out of caution. You are different. You listen, you learn, you respect. That is rare. Kale felt warmth at her words. I think all beings deserve understanding. Even if we are different, we can connect. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between human and dragon deepened. The queen began to trust Kale implicitly, letting him accompany her on flights across dangerous terrain, even allowing him near her most sacred nesting grounds. He handled her presence with care, never attempting to dominate or control, and in return, she shared knowledge of her species that no human had ever known. One evening, as the twin suns of the alien world dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the plateau, the queen lowered herself beside Kale. "You have changed human," she murmured. I laughed at the idea of a human near me, even touching me. "Yet you have proven remarkable." Kale looked at her, trying to find words. "I only did what I thought was right. I respected you, and I wanted to understand." The queen's eyes gleamed with an almost playful light. "Understanding, yes, that is rare, and perhaps little human. It is more valuable than raw strength." That night, under the twin moons, Kale realized something profound. Their bond was not just survival or duty, it was mutual respect, a connection that transcended species, size, and power. The queen of giant dragons, who had laughed at the idea of humans, now allowed one to share her trust and presence. And in return, Kale felt stronger, wiser, and more capable than he had ever been. They shared quiet moments, fly together across alien skies, resting on cliffs bathed in moonlight, and exploring places neither could reach alone. Kale began to sense subtle shifts in the queen, small changes in her behavior, moment of hesitation, and then a gentle softness that hinted at something more. One day, while examining a nest of alien eggs, the queen spoke with a low rumble. "Little human, perhaps you are destined for more than I imagined. There is potential here, beyond what either of us can predict." Kale studied her carefully. "Potential for what?" The queen let out a soft laugh. "You are bold, clever, and patient. I do not yet understand it fully. But the bond we share, it may lead to wonders. Even I did not expect this. Even I could not have imagined it." Kale felt a thrill of excitement mixed with awe. In this alien world, with the queen of giant dragons, he had found connection that transcended fear, size, and expectation. Together, they were learning, growing, and discovering something new, not just about each other, but about the possibilities that existed when courage and respect guided their actions. And in that moment, Kale knew that their bond would shape not only their lives, but perhaps the future of their worlds in ways no one could yet imagine. Whispers began to spread across the plateau as Kale and the queen spent more time together. Creatures of all sizes watched from a distance, their eyes wide with curiosity and disbelief. Few had ever seen a human move so freely among dragons, and fewer still had seen a human earn the trust of a queen. Word traveled fast, faster than Kale could have imagined. In the village at the edge of the plateau, traders and wanderers exchanged stories about the tiny human who dared to approach the mightiest dragon. Some laughed, thinking it impossible, while others shook their heads in concern. "It cannot end well," one elder warned, stroking his beard. "Dragons are not meant to be tamed or befriended by humans." Kale, however, remained focused on his bond with the queen. He knew the gossip would come, but he also understood that fear and misunderstanding often fueled it. Still, the reaction surprised him. Children imitated his careful movements, trying to mimic how he approached the queen, while adults debated whether he had been chosen or had merely stumbled into something dangerous. Meanwhile, the queen noticed the shifting attention. She rumbled low, a sound that vibrated through the ground. "They talk human. The smaller ones fear what they cannot understand." Kale looked up at her. "Do you care what they think?" "I care only that they do not harm you," she replied. "Humans often misinterpret what they see. They speak loudly, but their understanding is shallow." Despite her reassurance, Kale could not ignore the reactions. Travelers began leaving offerings at the edge of the plateau, small gifts of food and trinkets meant to appease the queen or curry favor with him. Others left warnings, scribbled messages cautioning him to stay away or face consequences. One morning, as Kale practiced observing the queen's flight patterns, a group of elders approached him cautiously. Their faces were stern, their eyes filled with a mix of suspicion and awe. Human, one began, "We hear the tales. You move among dragons as if you belong. Do you not fear for your life?" Kale shook his head. "I respect the queen. That is why I survive. Fear is natural, but understanding is stronger." The elders exchanged uneasy glances. "You speak boldly," another said. "Yet the world is not as forgiving as you believe. Rumors grow wings of their own." Kale nodded, aware of the weight his actions carried. "Then let them talk. I cannot control what they say, only what I do." As the weeks passed, the rumors became bolder. Some claimed the queen had become infatuated with the human, that their bond threatened the natural order of the plateau. Others suggested that the human possessed some hidden power, explaining how he could approach the queen without harm. The whispers grew louder, reaching distant valleys, and even the ears of traveling merchants. The queen sensed attention. One evening, she lowered herself beside Kale, her eyes narrowing slightly. "They question you, human. They do not understand. Will their fear unsettle your mind?" Kale took a deep breath. "I cannot deny it surprises me, but I also cannot let it dictate my actions. I do what is right, regardless of what they think." Her massive head tilted, considering his words. "Courage, humility, and respect. You carry these well. Perhaps that is why you endure where others would falter." Even among the queen's kin, reactions varied. Younger dragons were curious, sneaking glances and imitating Kale's cautious gestures. Some elders remained skeptical, keeping their distance but watching keenly, perhaps trying to understand how a human could bridge such a gap. One day, a messenger from a distant dragon clan arrived, his scales glinting under the sun. "Queen," he said, bowing his great head, "there are tales of the human who walks beside you. They speak of it as a miracle or a folly." The queen's eyes glinted with amusement. "And which do you believe, messenger?" The dragon hesitated. "I do not know. Humans rarely earn such trust. Yet he does not fear. He does not seek power. Perhaps it is both miracle and lesson." Kale watched quietly, realizing that even among dragons, the news of their bond carried weight. He felt a mixture of pride and caution. Pride because the bond he shared with the queen was genuine. Caution because he understood that perception could be as dangerous as any physical threat. Back in the village, traders debated whether to bring more supplies to Kale, some hoping to witness the bond firsthand, others fearing it might anger the dragons. Children whispered stories of a brave human who dared to touch a queen, turning tales of fear into legends of courage. Kale understood that the reactions, both human and dragon, were inevitable. Curiosity, fear, admiration, and skepticism all coexisted in the whispers that surrounded him. He knew that his journey was no longer private. His actions were observed, analyzed, and interpreted by many. Yet he remained steadfast, knowing that the truth of his bond with the queen could not be diluted by rumors. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Kale and the queen sat atop a high cliff. The plateau stretched endlessly before them, shadows dancing in the soft moonlight. "Do you see, human?" she rumbled. "They will speak, but what matters is here between us." Kale smiled. "I see. Their words cannot change what is real. Our bond is stronger than fear or gossip." She lowered her massive head close to him. "Then continue as you are. Courage, patience, and respect will guide you, as it guides us both. Let them talk. The world is wide, but understanding endures." And so, amidst whispers, speculation, and awe, Kale continued his journey with the queen of giant dragons. The rumors swirled, but the bond they shared remained unbroken, growing stronger with each day. The whispers would continue, but Kale knew that true understanding was forged not by words, but by actions and trust, a lesson both human and dragon could share with the world. The plateau was quiet, almost eerily so, as Kale paced near the queen. The massive dragon had been restless for hours, her golden eyes glinting with a mixture of anticipation and discomfort. Kale's heart raced. He had been with her through storms, hunts, and long flights, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. "Kale," the queen rumbled softly, her voice vibrating to the ground. "The time has come. Are you ready?" Kale swallowed hard. I I think so. I'll be right here. I won't leave you. She lowered herself to the ground, her wings folding carefully around her massive body. Kale knelt beside her, feeling the warmth of her scales and the steady thrum of her heartbeat. He could sense the life inside her, a rhythm that was both terrifying and beautiful. Hours passed. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in shades of orange and violet. Kale held the queen's claw gently, offering words of encouragement and calm. The dragon shifted, a low groan escaping her throat as the first signs of labor became apparent. Despite her strength and power, she was vulnerable now, and Kale's presence was all that steadied her. Then it happened. With a final, shuddering breath, the queen brought forth the first of her twins. A small, scaled hatchling emerged, blinking at the world with eyes like molten amber. Kale's breath caught in his throat. It was perfect, a tiny miracle, and yet so different from him, yet undeniably connected. The second twin followed quickly, a little smaller but just as lively. Its scales shimmered with a subtle green hue, contrasting with the golden tones of the first. Kale watched in awe as the queen nuzzled them both, her massive claws cradling the fragile life with care and tenderness. "They are incredible," Kale whispered, tears welling in his eyes. "Both of them. They're beautiful." The queen's eyes softened as she gazed at him. "They carry pieces of us both. Human. One may lean more toward my strength, the other toward your courage. Together, they will be whole." Kale reached out carefully, letting his hand hover near the golden twin. The hatchling chirped softly, a sound that resonated deep in Kale's chest. He felt a connection instantly, a bridge between human and dragon that no one else could understand. "Kale," the queen murmured, "you have been patient, brave, and steadfast. Now you see the result of trust and unity. Life can be born from bonds stronger than fear or doubt." Kale nodded, swallowing hard to keep his voice steady. "I'll protect them. All of them. I promise." The hatchlings wriggled and chirped, exploring the world with tiny, curious movements. Kale marveled at their small claws and delicate wings, imagining the day they would soar above the plateau, strong and fearless like their mother. But for now, they were dependent, fragile, and utterly enchanting. Night fell, and Kale remained by the queen's side, watching over her and the twins. The air was filled with the soft hum of her breathing, the gentle rustle of scales, and the occasional chirp of the newborns. He realized that this moment, this shared life, was more profound than any battle, any flight, or any challenge he had faced. As the first moon rose, casting silver light across the plateau, Kale felt a deep sense of responsibility settle over him. These twins, born of a union that many had mocked or doubted, were living proof of courage, trust, and unity across worlds. The queen shifted slightly, nudging Kale gently. "Do you understand now, human? Our bond was never just between us. It has created something new, something that will carry forward our legacy." Kale nodded, awe and humility intertwining in his heart. "I understand. I'll do everything I can to honor it." For the first time, the plateau felt truly alive with promise. The twins chirped and explored, their scales shimmering in the moonlight. Kale could see the future stretching before them, days of learning, growth, and adventures that would test both human and dragon alike. "Kale," the queen murmured, her eyes glinting with pride, "you'll see how far courage and trust can reach. Life is precious, fragile, and resilient all at once. Never forget that." Kale placed a hand over the golden twin, feeling the small heartbeat beneath his palm. "I won't forget. I'll protect them. All of them. You and them." The queen lowered her massive head, resting it near him, a gesture of both trust and gratitude. "Then let this night mark the beginning, human, the beginning of a legacy that neither time nor fear can diminish." Kale looked at the twins again, marveling at the small, perfect lives before him. Each movement, each chirp, each breath was a reminder of what courage and connection could achieve. Against odds, across worlds, they had created life, a symbol of trust, unity, and the potential of human courage. And as the moonlight bathed the plateau, Kale understood fully. Nothing would ever be the same. He had witnessed the birth of something extraordinary, and in that moment, the bond between human and dragon was stronger, deeper, and more unbreakable than ever before. The sun rose slowly over the plateau, casting long, golden rays across the valley. Kale stood at the edge, watching as the dragon twins stretched their tiny wings, chirping and leaping in the soft morning light. The queen hovered nearby, her massive form elegant and calm, yet there was a softness in her gaze that had not been there before. Word had spread across the nearby villages and settlements. Humans who once feared dragons were now gathering at a distance, curious and cautious. They whispered among themselves, eyes wide as they saw the dragon twins playing under the watchful eyes of Kale and the queen. Kale felt the weight of their stares, but did not flinch. He had faced challenges, battles, and impossible odds before, but this was different. This was about trust, about proving that humans could be more than just fragile creatures. They could be caretakers, friends, and protectors of life unlike any other. One of the villagers stepped forward cautiously, an older man with a long, gray beard. "Kale," he said, voice trembling with awe. We never believed such a bond could exist. You've done something remarkable." Kale nodded respectfully. "I only did what any human would do. Life is precious, no matter form. These twins, they are proof of that, and of what can happen when fear is set aside." The crowd murmured, glancing at the queen and her children. Some faces were still uncertain, but there was a growing sense of respect. Humans and dragons, once divided by fear and misunderstanding, were now united in a fragile yet undeniable harmony. The queen lowered herself, allowing the twins to crawl onto her massive claws. She looked toward Kale, her eyes filled with gratitude. "They see you as one of us now. Human, you have bridged a gap that few believed could be crossed." Kale smiled, bending slightly to let the golden twin nuzzle his hand. "And I see them as part of our world. They are living proof that courage, care, and understanding can change everything." A young girl from the crowd stepped forward timidly. "Kale, can I touch one?" she asked, voice small but hopeful. Kale hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, but be gentle. They are learning about the world, just like you did." The girl approached slowly, and the green twin chirped, extending a tiny claw toward her. She laughed softly, holding out her hand, and the hatchling touched it lightly. A hush fell over the crowd, a moment of quiet wonder as the impossible became real. Other humans began to follow, some hesitant, some eager, but all respectful. They touched the twins, marveled at their scales, and watched the queen shift protectively around them. There was no fear now, only curiosity and beginnings of acceptance. Kale watched it all, heart swelling with pride. This was what humanity could do: reach out, bridge gaps, and foster understanding where there had been only fear. The twins chirped and nuzzled the humans, responding to their kindness and gentle touch. Even the queen relaxed, allowing the humans to witness the bond they had created. The day passed in a mixture of awe and learning. Kale showed the humans how to approach the twins carefully, how to respect their space, and how to understand their unique language of chirps and movements. Slowly, the barriers of fear and misunderstanding melted away. By evening, the humans had dispersed, but their eyes shone with newfound respect. They had witnessed something extraordinary, something that challenged every preconceived notion they had about dragons and humans alike. Kale stood with the queen and her children, feeling a sense of triumph that went deeper than victory in battle. It was a triumph of understanding, empathy, and courage. The queen lowered her massive head, resting it near Kale. "You have shown them, human, you have shown all of us, what it means to be brave not just in body, but in heart. These twins, our children, will grow in a world that now sees hope. Thanks to you." Kale smiled, brushing his hand over the golden twin. "They will learn, and so will we all. This is just the beginning. Together, humans and dragons can achieve things that neither could alone." As night fell, the stars reflected in the twins' eyes, tiny points of wonder and possibility. Kale looked up at the sky, feeling the vastness of it, and understood something profound. Humanity's strength was not only in its arms or its minds. It was in its courage to reach out, to care, and create bonds that defied fear. The queen whispered softly, "You have made the impossible real, Kale. The world has changed because of this day." Kale nodded, eyes on the twins as they curled against the queen's claws. "And it will keep changing with every act of courage and care. That is a legacy we leave, the proof that humanity can rise, even among dragons, among stars, among the unknown. The plateau was silent now, filled only with the gentle sounds of breathing and soft chirps. But within that silence was a triumph that echoed far beyond the valley. Humans had reached beyond fear. Dragons had accepted a human, and life, new, fragile, and extraordinary, had become a bridge between worlds. Kale looked at the horizon, feeling a profound sense of hope. The twins would grow strong, the queen would continue to teach, and humanity's example of bravery and empathy would resonate far and wide. In this quiet moment, the meaning of true triumph was clear. Not victory in battle, but the ability to create connection, understanding, and lasting legacy across worlds. And with that, Kale, the queen, and her children settled into the night, knowing that the impossible had been made real, and that humanity's courage had triumphed, echoing across the stars for all to see.